What's up, guys? Today's a little bit different, kind of different. I'm doing something that I actually haven't done on the vlog before. Surprisingly, this lighting is fucking terrible. Today we're actually doing something I surprisingly haven't done on the vlog before, and that's actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vlog. Shocking, I know. Back there is locals. I'm actually in the parking lot of Planet Fitness because it's busy as shit. That being said, we got some things to go through, what's gonna go down, and I'll talk to you guys about that when we get into the card shop. Let's fucking go.
I'm on like sorry, sir.
No, you're good, dude. Don't worry. It is super loud in there because it is busy as hell, but it is popping today. Today is actually the OTS Championship for Top Deck cards and games, and I know a lot of people might not understand what exactly that means. The OTS Championship is, I think, something new that Konami's kind of doing. The best way I can explain it is probably a low-scale regional, a regional at a local level, if you will. 20 bucks gets you 5 OTS packs as well as an entry into the tournament, which I believe is just several rounds, and then what happens is top 4 cut get invites to the North American World Championship qualifier. Now I'm actually flying out to Nats this year in Fort Worth, Texas, so it'd be nice if I can get my invite here at the OTS Championship. I think this is just the easiest way to possibly get it. If it doesn't pan out, still got Philadelphia Regionals right around the corner, so I'm not really too concerned about that. Get used to this room here because you're going to be seeing it a lot throughout the day as I update you guys. After each round, I'm just going to come back here, tell you guys what's up, kind of maybe recap some hands. We'll see how it pans out. I got some plans, see how it goes. This lighting is just still awful, and let's just get to it. Doing that. Hanging out.
yeah, that was terrible. Seriously, I wanted to cry. I was like, bro, I got this. Didn't you play for second, right?
So that's 6? Okay. So round 1, we sit across from our opponent, ask him if it's okay to record. He's okay with it. So we begin the match. We're playing Mech Knight Invoke today. It's actually not my deck, it's Ethan's deck. Thank you for lending me it, Ethan. So we're sitting in the driver's seat and we lose the die roll, but it's okay. Our opponent decides to take the play and he goes first. He starts off his turn by setting a whole bunch of cards, activating, Card of Demise, drawing 3 cards. I'm assuming I'm playing immediately Paleozoic. Actually we take a turn for the better when our opponent actually decides to discard at the end of his turn, I think, one of the True Dracos. Either he does that or he reveals it off of Pot of Duality. Either way, we know he's playing True Draco and we're in a pretty good situation. Interesting thing about this event is actually Borreload Dragon was ruled that it affects the player. So against Masterpiece, it actually works against Masterpiece, which is pretty cool. That ruling might not be the same for your regional, but that's how it was ruled here at the OTS Championship. Very favorable because we have tons of ways to make Borreload Dragon, especially with Scapegoat. He passes the turn to us and we don't have too much going for us as he flips up Anti-Spell Fragrance. Not looking too hot against a Masterpiece just sitting on the board. So I just decided to set Scapegoat and pass. Really dumb decision because then he just activates Masterpiece to pop the Scapegoat anyways. I could have set more cards. I could have set 3 as a bluff and hoped to play Landmine with it. Hope he didn't hit it, but that didn't happen. Whatever his turn goes, he deals some damage to us and then he passes over to us. We draw and we draw into another Scapegoat, which is okay. This time I'd make the right play and I set all 3 cards in my hand. Invocation, I believe Instant Fusion was in my hand, and Scapegoat. I'm going off of memory about these things, so if everything's not correct, I'm at least going to the best of my knowledge. You can see the cards on the screen, though. Hopefully I'm giving you the best play-by-play I can. So after setting 3, we pass the turn to him, and he activates Masterpiece, and God, this guy's good. He pops the Scapegoat again. We're not winning this one. We go to game 2. Game 2 comes and we draw pretty favorably, drawing into 2 Mech Knight dudes, Blue Sky as well as Indigo, or the Move Man as I like to call him. Since we lost game 1, we got the pick. I decided I was going to go second. That's the most favorable to go with this deck. anyways. Opening up hand traps is also just really good in this deck. I managed to see Ash Blossom in a lot of my games. Very favorable. So game 2 comes around, and I kind of assumed my opponent didn't draw too well. There really wasn't too many plays he could make. I could stop them. I think I had Ghost Ogre at a point to stop a Dragonic Diagram. Pretty good. But actually what happened is we just ended up squeaking the win, and it ended up okay. I don't think there's really entirely too much to report with this game. Just kind of a mainstream game. He didn't get what he needed. I kind of had somewhat of what I needed, and I was able to build a board that was to withstand his back row. Ended up okay. Crash. 22 for game. Okay. Looking through my side deck, I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to decide. It's not my deck again. I just kind of go off of what my friend has. And I noticed I actually have a lot of stuff that's really favorable against the matchup. So setting out Instant Fusion, setting out Effect Veiler, which is just a crappy hand trap against the matchup. Mind Controls aren't too good against this matchup either, because Masterpiece can't be taken anyways. I guess in hindsight he could have if he didn't tribute with a spell, but whatever. So I ended up setting out, I think, like 9 cards or something for Jewel Unlocks, evenly matched, as well as Twin Twister. Actually, it was around 8 cards now that I count it again. These were definitely a lot more favorable for the matchup. I don't know how good evenly match is against the matchup, but I decided just to set it anyways. Moving on to game 3, I kind of assume my opponent's going to make me go first. So I don't really know what to side in, whether it's worth siding an Instant Fusion again. We already know our opponent plays Card Demise, so hand traps aren't really a problem, not something I'm too worried about, but our opponent decides to go first again. So sure, favorable for us, I guess. This game's a little bit interesting. We open up and our opponent activates Imperial Iron Wall after setting his field. Doesn't have any monsters. Actually, he does have Masterpiece on the field. So Imperial Iron Wall's kind of weird in his deck because he can't activate Masterpiece's effect to pop anything. So I guess it kind of works out for us too, and it actually ends up winning us the game in the end. Does it just fizzle?
I'm pretty sure, because you can't banish the cards.
Chain banish your 10 for cost. You chain the Iron Wall. He will still draw the 2 cards.
We actually run into a little bit of a ruling issue. I activate Potter Desires, and my opponent activates Imperial Iron Wall. I was under the impression that the effect would just fizzle, but then I read it again, and it's actually banishing 10 cards for cost. So I call over a judge, and my friend Ethan tells me that since I am banishing 10 for the cost of Potter Desires, the cost must be fulfilled when I activate the card. So when he chains Imperial Iron Wall, I still had to banish for the cost, thus allowing me to draw 2 cards since I filled the requirements anyways. So what happens is we set 3 back row, and we got to pass. We can't do too much on our turn after summoning Alistair, searching Invocation. Not too much we can do, really. So what ends up happening is we pass turn to my opponent. My opponent goes, and I think he Masterpieces or something. I don't think he's allowed to, but I didn't really think about it, I guess, then. But he decides to hit my back row, which is Scapegoat. I can chain Scapegoat, so I do, and Scapegoat allows me to summon 4 tokens. This battle phase and kills one of the tokens, putting us down to 3 tokens. So I'm not too mad. Because actually we make our game-winning play following turn. Following turn, we draw for turn. I think we draw into Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which becomes very relevant later. We decide to take our 3 tokens, super them into Link Karibo, Proxy Dragon, and go into Ningrisu. Ningrisu is able to out the Masterpiece because he is actually affected by monsters. Pretty cool. Ningrisu outs the Masterpiece. Our opponent still has Imperial Iron Wall, as well as Dragonic Diagram on the field. We end up ashing the diagram on a turn, and then we draw into Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which then we Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit the Dragonic Diagram, just slowly whittling down our opponent until he really has no resources to play with. My opponent's last dying breath was to play Pot of Duality and grab Pot of Desires. He really was playing the gamble game. If I had the last hand trap, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, to out his Dragonic Diagram, which I did, then he wouldn't be able to activate the Pot of Desires, which is why he was activating Dragonic Diagram to target his Imperial Iron Wall in hopes he would be able to destroy it. But that I had Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, so Dragonic Diagram's off the field. He's still left with Imperial Iron Wall, and that Pot of Desires he added off is no mas. We did it, guys. We made top 8. Round 2 we played against ABC, took that pretty convincingly. Round 3, Spiral was a close one, but we won. Round 4 we faced Invoked, not Mech Knight Invoked, just Invoked, and we took it. So that being said, moving into round 5, I was placing Pendulum Magicians at table 1, and I didn't really care too much about the matchup. Either way, I was going to make top 8. The only thing that mattered really was placement, who I would be playing in the top 8 cut. So I didn't really take the match too seriously, didn't really care too much. Didn't win, so we went 4-1, but we're in top 8. Top 8's about to start in like 5 minutes. We're gonna see if we can just win one more. We just gotta win one more, get top 4, get that invite for nationals. Really, that's all I'm looking to get. I just want that invite. I just want to get it out of the way. It's probably the easiest opportunity to get it, so let's try to make the most of it. So let's go over the top 8 match real quick. It's actually pretty swift, pretty sad for my opponent, but let's get into it. So turn 1, we open up a pretty okay hand. A couple mech knights. I think red and blue show up in my hand, or indigo, one of them. The thing is we're just going to be pushing in for raw damage as my opponent, going first, sets 1 back row, and then proceeds to pass. After he does that, I go to my turn. I realize I can't game him with the amount of damage on the board, but I am able to sink in 6,000 something damage with Indigo, as well as Red Moon and Alistair normal summon. Some pretty hefty damage, but it's not enough to get me there, so I decided to main phase 2, Alistair up into Clara and Rushka, which is a pretty cool card that nobody really saw coming, actually being good. I souped that into that, and then I souped the other 2 Mech Knight monsters into Underclock Taker, and then made those into an Ingrisu, which is a card that's been putting in phenomenal work, as I said before, this entire tournament. And I decided to try to take out the back row, if it is something rather important. I couldn't tell. But when I target the back row, my opponent decides to flip it up, and it's Waterfall of the Dragon Souls, or I think that's the name of it, and he's actually going to, I asked him which effect he's going to activate, and he says he's going to go for the draw effect. I assume since he's actually digging to use the draw effect, he's not just confident in adding 1 to hand, he needs other stuff, I guess. I assume he's looking for some other cards to be able to pair with his hand. Maybe he has a monster heavy hand and he's looking for some spells and traps. He's playing True Draco at this point, it's pretty common knowledge, so maybe he doesn't have continuous spells or anything to work with his maybe potentially heavy monster hand. So I decided to activate the Ash Blossom and Enjoy Spring in my hand, negate that effect, no mas, he scoops right away. He knows that game's over. He shows me his hand and it's a whole bunch of monsters. Not something ideal when you're just trying to summon Masterpiece and you don't have the materials to do so.
I only play 7 monsters. I draw 4 of them.
Game 2 is actually kind of more of the same. My opponent goes into Dragonic Diagram and actually is able to summon Ignis Heat with a monster in 2 back row. I side, Twin Twister and some other good cards. Twin Twister, Lava Golem, and 1 Droll and Lockbird, I believe. 2 Twin Twister, 1 Droll and Lockbird, 2 Lava Golem is the ratios I ended up doing. I only sided 2 Twin Twister. I would have definitely sided 3 if I had the chance. But it ends up coming in clutch because I'm able to top deck into Twin Twister against my opponent's, he has like Ignis Heat, Dragonic Diagram, 2 set back row, and 1 face-up card. I immediately snap the Twin Twister, asking standby phase and main phase to check for anti-spell fragrance, and I declare and I target the 2 back row, and oh my god, they were bombs. I hit the Monarch Erupt as well as Skill Drain, 2 extremely powerful cards, just wiping them from the board. Definitely put me way ahead, as those cards were definitely going to just lock me out of the game had I not had a way to get around them. Bless the top deck Twin Twisters, I guess. From there, it's business as usual. I have a pretty powerful hand to be able to do things with. I just have to take a long time, a little bit too long, to decide how I'm going to game him. I'm going into Borrello Dragon, as well as Underclock Taker to be able to sink his Ignis Heat down to 0 attack from there, and then I'm able to sink 79 damage plus the additional 1,000 from Alistair after pitching it from my hand. Not really scared of anything in hand. I think he's got 1 card, and he's playing Demise, Pot of Duality, that entire True Draco package. No hand traps in sight. Easy game, easy life. We got there. Top 4, guys. So we got our invite to the NAWCQ. Top 8 prizing is split kind of differently. OTSs don't have to technically give anything for this championship as additional prizing, but it's really cool that Top Deck actually ended up giving all top 8 pretty phenomenal prizes. Places 5 through 8 ended up getting half a box of Extreme Force, and places 1 through 4 end up getting an entire box of Extreme Force. The only thing really important right now is getting the glory of winning the tournament. Hopefully we can get the Saryuja Skull Deep mat. That'd be really sick if we could get it for the vlog, but I don't really care at this point. Getting the top 4, getting the invite was really all I was going for. Let's see if we can clutch out a win, boys. Let's get it. He's mean mugging. Look how cute he is.
Thank you. I just need to know it.
So we got top 4. Kind of a successful night here at Top Deck Cards and Games OTS Championship. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to Top Deck Cards and Games for having such a fun event to play at. Happy I got my invite. Don't have to stress about the LCQs or anything. Just got it in the bag. So kind of cool. I got to give a huge thank you to Ethan, my buddy Ethan, for hooking me up with the deck that you guys saw today, Invoke Mech Knight. Took it home. So yeah, if you guys liked the video, just a like, comment, definitely subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next vlog. Thanks for watching, guys. Min signing out.